Why are you going to put yourself through another 2 hours of misery watching an uninspired group like the Indiana Fever get punked by the Phoenix Mercury? Now, Lexie Hull, she fought tooth and nail.
So lads, Lexie Hull yesterday gave an update on Caitlin Clark's injury and just how she has been. Apologies for being a day late to a lot of this news and a lot of stuff. I'm just been all over the place. Like 2K has been released, if you guys don't know.
Kelsey Mitchell, she fought tooth and nail. Stephanie White rolled over. Aaliyah Boston rolled over. Odyssey Sims rolled over.
I was DBG before I was Mick Talks Hoops, and starting to get back into that a little bit, and just a lot of stuff going on in life, and it's been a bit of a rough couple of days. So I'll be back on track. Hopefully back on track for 7 or 8 videos today.
What happens when your biggest star is out, half your roster is injured, and the season still hangs in the balance? The Indiana Fever just answered that question in the loudest way possible by crushing the Chicago Sky yet again. And here's the twist. It wasn't Caitlin Clark who stole the spotlight. It was Lexie Hull playing through bruises and cuts, proving toughness can outweigh talent alone. But how exactly did the Fever transform injuries into motivation and turn their underdog role into total domination? Let's break down what really happened on that court. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. How does a player with 2 black eyes and a split lip become the heartbeat of an entire franchise? That was the question Indiana fans were asking when Lexie Hull stepped onto the floor against Chicago. Her face already told the story before the game even started. She was bruised from a hard collision with Gabby Williams in the previous matchup.
Taking the money, running, not even saying goodbye. You would think that the team would get up for that, right? You would think that a head coach, if she wasn't complicit in the robbery, you'd think she would get up. You think she would get her team up for that, right?
That's kind of the hope. That is the hope, to be back for 7 or 8 videos today. And then we're going to have to stream what is, in my opinion, the most important game the Fever are playing. This is the most important game the Fever are going to be playing tomorrow.
DeWanna Bonner, these last couple times that she's gone against the Indiana Fever, she's been on a mission to prove to you that she broke up with you guys and she's now in the better relationship.
Well, sorry, not tomorrow. Today is going to be the most important game, and if they win this game, they're essentially guaranteed to not be in that awful stage where you have to go through the Liberty and the Lynx. You have to go through the Lynx and the Liberty before getting to the finals.
And you could still see the heavy swelling around her eyes. Then during the game against the Sky, she took another shot straight to the mouth from Cardoso that left her lips split open. Most players would have left right there, shaken up, frustrated, maybe even ruled out for the night. But instead, Hull wiped her face, stayed on the court, and set the tone for everything that was about to follow. That's what makes this so crazy. The Fever weren't just missing Caitlin Clark, they were without Sophie Cunningham, and their rotation was already stretched thin. Every possession carried more weight, and the pressure to fold was real. Chicago had size, they had depth, and they had the kind of length that can overwhelm a short-handed squad. On paper, Indiana should not have had a chance. Yet the reason the Sky couldn't gain control had little to do with shot making or flashy highlights. It started with Hull, moving back on defense every possession, shadowing ball handlers like her life depended on it, diving across the floor after loose balls, and showing no hesitation even when contact left her bleeding. Let's talk about what kind of impact that has. When you watch the stat sheet, her numbers don't jump out in the same way a scorer's might. But coaches value her because she ruins rhythm. She was right in the face of Chicago's perimeter players, forcing them into contested jumpers, knocking them off balance, and wasting their shot clock. She closed out and absorbed hits without flinching. With every bump and scrape, instead of backing down, she leaned in harder, and that energy started seeping into the whole Fever squad. You could see it when Kelsey Mitchell stepped up her pressure and when the bench erupted every time Hull forced a turnover. After the game, when reporters asked about her bruises, Hull didn't complain. She smiled and said she and her teammates,
She broke up with the bum-ass organization that's ran by Kelly Krauskopf, Amber Cox, head coach by Stephanie White. She broke up with those 3 ladies. Now she's in a new relationship.
I think the Fever beat the Dream. The problem is that the Dream could get into that 4-5 matchup. I think the Dream are much... I think the Mercury... The Fever match up well to the Mercury purely because of Steph White's ability to game plan for AT.
One with the Phoenix Mercury. And these last 2 times, her and Alyssa Thomas have made it their business to rub their new relationship in our face. And what have the Indiana Fever done?
When she wants to, she can game plan AT out of games. But yeah, it's an interesting one. This is what Lexie Hull has said about Caitlin Clark. Hull, I've been impressed with her maturity through it. It's not easy to go day to day and
Fight for their injured teammates. That one simple statement gave her performance all the weight in the world, because it wasn't about her pain. It was about carrying the fight for the players who couldn't be there. The locker room ate that up, and it turned her into the emotional center of the team. Suddenly, it felt like she wasn't just giving them minutes, she was giving them identity. Coach Stephanie White made it clear too. She praised Hull for being resilient and fearless, saying that she epitomized what the Fever want to be. That kind of comment doesn't come lightly. It shows that the coaching staff actually sees her toughness as a model for the entire roster. When coaches want the team culture to look like a player's effort, you know what kind of impact that carries. And in this case, Hull became almost the mirror of the Fever season. This has been a group forced to adapt, adjust, and fight through adversity without their biggest star every night. Every time Hull stayed in despite the hits, it was symbolic of what the franchise had to do. No excuses, just compete. Her growth matters here too. This season, she's already reaching career highs across points, steals, and rebounds, which proves this isn't just about heart. She's making real, tangible progress and finding ways to become a bigger factor every night. More than that, her effort holds the defense together.
They've sat there and they've taken it. They say, oh, you want to rub it in our face? Go ahead, rub it in our face. We'll take it. DeWanna Bonner played the Indiana Fever organization like some fools. And every time they don't get up for games like this.
And that seems to be one of those things where maybe someday she feels better than others. And that could be one of the awkward things for a ramp up, is that on one day she feels good, the next day she feels bad. But she continues to come in and be the person that she is. She's funny and a jokester.
This game was Lil Bro versus Big Bro in the driveway playing one-on-one. It's close for the first 2 possessions. Then eventually Big Bro wants to rub it in your face.
She brings energy and light to situations that could really be dark. So I think more than anything, I'm just proud of her and her resiliency throughout the year. Hopefully we'll see. I've gone a little bit low on this.
She gives consistency where they were missing stability. That's why when the Fever ripped apart Chicago, it wasn't just another win. It was the kind of performance that showed Indiana doesn't need to rely on one superstar to thrive. The payoff is simple. The Fever didn't just survive without Clark, they thrived. Hull gave them the energy to turn pressure into fire, and that fire spread until the game flipped into a blowout. But here's where it gets even more wild. Hull's toughness was only the beginning, because Indiana's dominance over Chicago wasn't just impressive, it was historic. The crazy part about this win is that it showed the Fever aren't just waiting for Caitlin Clark to carry them. They've built an identity on toughness, sharing the ball, and fighting for each other. That's why blowing out Chicago didn't even look surprising by the end. And here's the real question. If Indiana can crush a rival 5 straight times by an average of 24 points while missing stars, what happens when Clark comes back healthy? This isn't just a nice little streak. This feels like the start of something bigger, the core of a team that could chase real titles.